Good morning, Dr. Orszag.
Good morning.
I'm going to go at a question which I focus on a lot because I have to and I want to. Would you agree that if everything possible in the next 5 to 10 years that's done on solar, wind power, biomass, nuclear, all the rest of it, that it would come anywhere close to providing 1/2 of the nation's electric needs?
No, Senator, I think what you're getting at is coal is going to remain a key part of our energy base for the foreseeable future.
Well, I'm going to dispute that in a moment, but I want you to answer the question. In other words,
we need to move aggressively to new forms of energy, but it's going to take time.
I want you to answer the question. In other words, in the next 5 to 10 years, if we do everything we can, and I'm all for all of them.
Sure.
Solar, the whole deal. Wind power, we're trying to set those up on.
I don't think those sources will amount to half of our energy needs now.
Anywhere near.
Probably not anywhere near.
Yeah. So that we're going to have coal. Now, there's two definitions of coal. There's coal as it is today, as it is in some places today, which is not clean. And then there's something called clean coal, which is what we're striving for and what there is remarkable progress on. Just to give you two examples, which I have before, I'm thinking of one company which is producing, causing a coal that goes into power plants. Emissions have been cut 90% out of carbon. Another one where 95% of emissions are cut out of carbon. I mean, that the carbon is reduced by that amount. That's cleaner than nuclear. Now, so the question I really have looking at the budget, listening to the President, listening to Lisa Jackson, is are you really on a path to do coal? And of course it's in the interest of the state of West Virginia and Montana and others. But I'm doubtful, and this is the reason. One is there hasn't been a new power plant built in West Virginia, even if it could be for clean coal, since 1993. Nobody is investing anything in anything new in coal. You have taken 4 tax credits in your budget and eliminated them just at the time that the coal industry, and I'm doing my best on this because I think there's going to have to be legislation on climate change. I separate myself from some of my colleagues from coal states in this respect, and even from some of my own constituents. But I think the only way to save coal is to have an energy bill that will price carbon and thus allow coal to take advantage of a lot of money from Wall Street and perhaps from bills out of Congress. On the other hand, in the budget, when you cut out the tax credits, what you're going to do is you're going to reduce coal production. You just are. It's going to be partly psychological. People are going to reduce their production because they feel, uh-oh, here comes the Obama administration, they're going to cut out coal. And then you look at Lisa Jackson, and there are two parts of Lisa. One is mountaintop removal, but the other is the power she's given by the Supreme Court to reduce carbon at her discretion. I tell my coal miners in West Virginia that the only way we can save coal is to have legislation which produces large amounts of money for carbon capture and storage, and can do it at the 90 to 95% level. But there's time, that takes time. It takes time to do it, to deploy it, for Wall Street to have confidence in it, and therefore to fund it, which it will extravagantly if time is given. The President has a little bit of money in for clean coal, for CCS, but not much. And so I'm looking at
$530 million.
I know. I mean, and that is what that is equal to is one power plant in West Virginia. It happens to be the largest one in the country, cutting out 17% of its emissions, reducing the carbon down to 10%. So it really is like not anything at all. So what are my signals that I'm meant to read? where am I meant to, other than his words? We met with him yesterday, and he said, oh, I'm, for clean coal. Then he says it in speeches. But he doesn't say it in here. He doesn't say it in the actions of Lisa Jackson, and he doesn't say it in the minds of my own people, and he's beginning to be not believable to me. So I want you to put me at rest or put me away.
A few comments, Senator, and thank you for the question. As you know, also, in addition to any discussion you had with him yesterday, he also formed yesterday a cabinet-level task force precisely on CCS to explore the best path forward, and named Secretary of Energy and others, and I'm on that task force too.
I was thrilled by that,
okay,
Dr. Orszag, but go ahead.
That's one thing. Second thing is, while I appreciate your concern that the funding level is not as high as you'd like, there is more than $500 million in the budget for CCS and clean coal research and development. And then finally, one of the reasons we join you in believing that we should address climate change through comprehensive legislation is not only to avoid the regulatory approach, which would involve higher costs, but also because, as you correctly note, comprehensive legislation creates resources that can be devoted to particular activities, including expanded research into clean coal.